Eino, silence off Hanko. The mayday came just after 02:17. A commercial trawler, the same as Hope, reported engine trouble and taking on water somewhere south of Hanko in the Gulf of Finland. Then the radio went quiet. No further transmissions, no distress buoy, no wreckage. By the time the official search was scaled back, the insurer had already begun using the word suspicious. The families of the 4 crewmen used different words. Eino took the file the way he took most of them, without ceremony and without accepting the first conclusion on offer. He began where the official investigation had stopped, with the AIS data. The trawler's transponder showed a steady working course until 02:09. Then a sharp correction to starboard, held for 6 minutes, followed by the mayday and silence. The turn had no corresponding weather event and no logical fishing reason. Mikael printed the track, laid it over a detailed chart, and began collecting everything else that had been recorded that night. Weather buoy readings confirmed moderate seas and nothing that should have forced a sudden change of heading. A cargo ship passing farther south had logged an unidentified contact on radar that matched the trawler's last position before the turn. On a closed fisherman's forum, one user had mentioned strange running lights near a cluster of small islands, lights that did not match any known local traffic. None of it pointed to the open water the search teams had concentrated on. It pointed instead to a narrow, shallow strait beside a scarcely used island the official reports had dismissed as too insignificant to matter. Mikael hired a local pilot who knew the coastline the way some men know mountain trails. They worked the tide tables carefully, approaching the strait at the hour when the water would give them the best chance of seeing what the deeper draft search vessels had missed. The pilot kept the engine low. Mikael watched the shoreline with binoculars and the patience of a man used to waiting for the land, or the sea, to give something away. They found the same as Hope in a hidden cove on the island's leeward side, beached and deliberately flooded to the gunwales. It was not a wreck. It was a place to disappear. The crew had not gone down with the ship. They had gone quiet. Mikael did not board at once. He photographed the vessel from multiple angles, noted the state of the hull, the position of the anchor, and the absence of any sign of forced entry or struggle. Only then did he go aboard, moving carefully, documenting as he went. In the wheelhouse he found the logbook left open to the night of the mayday. The final entry was brief and unfinished. In a locker below, he found 4 sets of personal gear still packed, as if the men had expected to leave again in a hurry. The story came together without drama. 2 nights before the mayday, the trawler had passed close to the island and witnessed a small freighter offloading cargo onto an unmarked boat in the same cove. The crew had seen faces and vehicles they were not supposed to see. Someone on the other side had noticed the trawler's lights. The mayday and the deliberate beaching had been an attempt to vanish before they could be found and silenced more permanently. They had been hiding on the island for days, rationing food, listening for engines, too afraid to risk the radio again. Mikael verified every detail he could prove independently. The AIS anomaly, the radar contact, the forum post, the condition of the vessel, the tide and depth data that explained why the official search had passed it by. He wrote the report in plain language, attached the supporting files, and radioed the Coast Guard with exact coordinates and a request for a quiet recovery. The crew were brought off the island alive, shaken, and unwilling at first to speak. Once they understood they were not being handed back to the people they had seen, the rest followed. The smuggling route, small, careful, and dependent on that overlooked cove, was shut down in the weeks that followed. No press conference was required. Mikael's report and the evidence that traveled with it did the necessary work. On the drive back along the coast the light was changing, the Gulf turning from steel to a softer gray. Mikael kept the window cracked, letting the salt air move through the car. Another file closed without noise. The insurer would adjust its position. The families would have their men back. The sea, as always, kept its own counsel. He did not need it to do more than that.